Hi, this is Jeanette, and welcome to the Bridge Within. Yesterday, I was talking about dreams. So, talking about the purpose of dreams, why we dream. I shared with you some of my dreams, like my earliest dream I can remember would be a warning dream, and then how I had a dry spell for a very long time, and why I thought I had the dry spell of no dreams, and then what really got me dreaming again and having visitation dreams that were beautiful and very meaningful. And I credit those with Dr. Raymond Moody's book called Reunions, and you can get that at Amazon, and he also has a website. Anyway, um, I think I told you yesterday what got me started is I had a lot of deaths within a short span of time, and I really wanted to talk to my grandmother. And I forgot to tell you why I wanted to talk to my grandmother. I wanted to talk to her because I had these debilitating headaches, and my grandmother could never say no to us. She loved her children and she loved her grandchildren with a passion. And so I wanted to ask her, how can I get rid of these headaches? I figured since she's on the other side, she would know. I mean, she has access to all these great people, right? So I thought it was worth a shot because I was really, really desperate. And plus, I missed her terribly. I missed all the people I lost at that time, and it was just really overwhelming. So anyways, that is what I forgot to add. The reason why I wanted to talk to my grandmother desperately and wasn't really reaching out to anyone else because I thought my grandma would be the one that would tell me. Anyways, so I it took a long time to hear from her. I mean, I heard from everyone else before I heard from my grandmother, and I have a list of things. Sorry, I need to get my readers on. I'm trying to think if I had heard from any more before I heard from my grandmother. Nope, I heard from quite a few people before I heard from my grandmother. And finally, I heard from my grandmother. I was beginning to think she was never going to show up, but she did. And did she give me my answer? No. I found that out another way. But um, in my dream, when my grandmother came, there was a small group of us family members that were at a park, and it was lined with trees. And the park really didn't have play toys or anything. It was a natural park with grass, and it kind of sloped. And we were enjoying ourselves, the company. That's one thing. Our family was so big and so great that we were so lucky because we really didn't need a community because we were our community. There were so many of us. It was a fabulous experience. And I know it's an experience that most people don't get because my grandmother had 13 children and lots of grandchildren. Anyways, like I said, in my dream, there was a small portion of us that were at this park. And I looked up at the tree line, so the park kind of leaned this way, and at the top I saw this woman in a wool camel like coat, and she had a dress on, and I ran up to her, and I remember she gave me the biggest hug, and I felt that hug. I felt it physically. And what's so funny is in life, that was one thing my grandmother could not do. She could not show her love physically, and she never would give us kisses or tell us how wonderful we were, or you know dote on us. She wasn't that kind of grandma, but she would show her love in other ways to where we knew we were loved. She would you know buy these elaborate toys at garage sales and stuff, and so we had like swimming pool to play in, and we had merry-go-round to play in. We had trees. I mean, she'd buy ice skates for us, roller skates. She would let us tear up the basement. I mean, she loved us. She loved having us around. She never told us no. And I think we kind of took advantage of that sometimes, but Grandpa was there to kind of balance that out a little bit. And, anyways, so I ran up to her and she gave me this great big hug that I felt. I've never been hugged by her, and it was wonderful. And I told her how grateful I was she was there. And I was so excited to see her that I forgot to ask her my question, how do I get rid of my headaches? And she didn't tell me. So I'm kind of under the assumption that that was just not her part to play for me. But she did tell me that whenever two or more family members meet, that she will be with us in spirit. And she was dressed up nicely. Like I said, she was wearing her dress coat and a nice green lovely dress and some little heels, and she really never hardly ever dressed up growing up, only for very special occasions. The most special occasions was she dress up. So she I knew for her to be with us, her family meeting up was one of those very special occasions. She lived to have the family over, and we practically all lived over there. And only the ones that lived out of state didn't go over there a lot. And so the ones that weren't able to come to Washington to be with her and the family that way, she would go and visit them quite, at least once a year. And, anyways, so that was my dream with my grandmother. And you can tell I still get emotional because I could feel her love and how important family is to her still to this day, and how she loves it when we get together and truly enjoy each other. It's a wonderful thing. So for a while, I think that was all the family I can think of and friends that had visited me before my grandmother finally showed up. But after that, I remember I was living somewhere else and my Uncle Bill came through. And Uncle Bill was in Montana, so I didn't see him a whole lot, but I knew he was my uncle. I felt totally comfortable with him, and we would go see him at least twice a year until they moved to California. And he came through one night, but for some reason, my vessel wasn't clear enough. So it felt like it was a bad signal. He was saying something about his son, Billy. He was concerned or wanting to talk about Billy, but I just couldn't get it. And I hope if there is something I can do, like give Billy a message or something, I hope that he will come through at a later time. That was quite a while ago that he came through, though. But I've had a lot of visitation dreams from animals, which I have really enjoyed. One of them was Ivan the gorilla. Do you guys remember him? He was the gorilla that lived in a little shopping center in Tacoma, Washington for years and years and years. He lived out in the wild, and him and his sister were captured and brought to Tacoma, and unfortunately his sister passed away, but he made it and he lived a long time, and he loved to watch TV. He loved the children. I remember when my parents would bring me to go see Ivan, how happy I was because you could feel his love as a child. And I unfortunately was not, as a child, I didn't understand the idea of freedom like I do now. So I am so grateful that he was able in his later life go to another place, another zoo where he could feel grass and have the company of other gorillas. But they and a place, a zoo where they knew his situation, how unique it was. And so they would still let him do those things that he loved to do, like watch TV. And anyways, one night, oh, I would say it was about 8 years ago, he came to me. I saw this beautiful gorilla, and he came to me and he pointed to himself, Ivan. And he kept saying that, Ivan, Ivan. He wanted to make sure I knew it was him. And I woke up really emotional. I, I'm sad. I get so emotional because I probably won't make a very good medium. I'm too emotionally involved in everything. So, I think a couple days after that, I had to go to Tacoma. So I ran by the to Point Defiance Zoo that is in Tacoma, and I went and visited his statue, and it's him holding a flower and enjoying the wonder of nature. It's a beautiful statue. Anyways, that was really special. I'm really grateful that he came to me, because who am I? He saw so many children. But I guess the message is for all of you who has seen Ivan and had the privilege of visiting him. Know that he loved the children, and he was a really good, what would that be called? An emissary for his species. He really, I think, made a difference to his fellow gorillas and made us see how spectacular they are, so that we would have this huge desire to save them in the wild. I think that was his role in life, was to be an ambassador for his species. And he paid a price. He paid the price of freedom, and I feel really sad he did that. But I believe that on the other side, before he came down, his spirit agreed to that. And he knew that was his goal, and he came down and he accomplished it with perfection. Another animal, that I saw in my dream that came and visited me. So we used to have a Papillon, and my husband and the kids wanted to breed her. And I was warned they don't make very good mothers because they are the babies. And that was the case with her. As soon as she got pregnant, she got super depressed. And oh, she did not want to be a mother. When she gave birth to them, she looked at them like they were turds gone bad. She couldn't figure out why her poop was moving. And we ended up being the mother dog, and they were so small I could fit both little puppies. She had three, one was stillborn, but the two survivors were two little boys, and I could fit them both in the palm of my hand. They were smaller than my daughter's hamster. They really had a rough start. And we would feed, they were so small, we would feed them with an eyedropper. And I'll tell you, I have a huge respect for dogs, mother animals in general. But my experience with being a mother dog is I have a great respect for them, because they are demanding and it is exhausting, but they were so worth it. And we were going to sell one of them and keep one of them, but you know, when you raise them, you just can't bear to get rid of them or part with them. So we ended up keeping both of them and kept all three of them until their passing. And when I had to leave my home and divorce my husband, I felt really bad, because Dickens, the smallest one, the one that really he was touch and go. I mean, I honestly didn't think he would make it, and kept running him to the vet, and by some miracle he made it, and he outlived all of them. And anyways, when I had to leave and get a divorce, I felt really bad, because I was his person. He would sleep on my chest, or sleep in right in between my chest and my arm. And he was the biggest bed hog. He weighed 6 pounds and was a huge bed hog. But I loved him and he loved me, and I just couldn't take him with me. Papillons are really hard to housebreak, just to let you know. I used to diaper them. So, who wants a dog that living with them that you have to diaper and sometimes they leak through? It was just, I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring them, unfortunately. And I felt really guilty for that. And we were so emotionally tied that one day I felt him call out to me that he needed help. And so I called my ex-husband. I said, Dickens, he needs help. He needs they need to get their anal glands just squeezed, and that's what he needed. And that can be a really bad situation if they don't get their anal glands popped or squeezed or whatever they do. So that was while he was alive. And then when he passed, I would say a year after, he came to me. He just came prancing up in the dream, just his happy-go-lucky self, and came to me, and I could feel his joy. I could feel this emotion that was beyond joy. It was beyond bliss. It was a it's an emotion that we cannot feel on this earth. It's beyond bliss. It's beyond anything we've ever felt. And he helped me to experience that feeling for a fleeting moment in my dream. And I'm so grateful that he did that, that he showed me that on the other side, we can expect more, that there is more over there than there is here for us. And so when our loved ones die, we can know that they too will experience that. He's a great teacher. He taught me a lot. Another dog that has come to me is my little man, Decker. He, I'm sorry, he passed away. Um, I think it was 2024. He was my main person during COVID. We hiked all over the place, and he one of my daughters brought him home. So I have those fond memories of raising my children, going on family outings. And my other daughter had another dog, and they were so much fun to watch. He has so many memories attached to him, um, and he was just the kindest dog. If you were sick, he would just lay with you. We would call him the nurse. He He was just a funny little boy. I could go on and on and on about Decker, but he was the first animal that I had to make the conscious decision to put down. And I'll probably talk about that on another video, but I had been asking him ever since he passed, show me what you're doing, Decker. I want to see you play, because that's what I used to love to do. For my birthday, my favorite thing to do was take the dogs to the beach, go find a private beach where no one else was, and just turn them loose and watch them run and play. It was the funnest thing for me to spend the day watching my dogs have a blast. And so that's what I wanted. I wanted Decker to show me him playing with all the other dogs that I know he has made friends with. But little Decker, he's always had a mind of his own. He did come and visit me during the dream. He came down. He was the first one. And then he brought all of his friends with him. He brought like 10 different dogs with him. So I know he's having fun, and I know he's playing. And I keep asking him, Decker, please show me you playing. I want to see you play. I want to spend some time with you and witness you playing. So I'm hoping another dream will come from Decker. So one thing I have learned is we can also have dreams from people, like a shared dream, like from people that are still alive. And there was this man at this spiritualist church I went with. His name is Jim, and I love him dearly. Everyone loves Jim. He's like the spiritual giant, and just quiet and shy, but so strong. And he would give really heartfelt messages. I have so many wonderful memories of corresponding with Jim or watching him at church as he would give other people messages. He's just a lovely man. And I was at another friend's house, and he came and visited me in my dream, and we had a beautiful conversation, and we were talking about spiritual things, and I was encouraging him to come to this new place I had found because we had both left that church. So I was in my dream was encouraging him to come to this other place. And anyways, I woke up, and I I knew he had been there. I knew we had connected in our dreams. And what's funny is I have another friend that says she has had that same experience with him. So Jim is very, very busy in his dreams. He is just like, a little social butterfly fluttering around into everyone's dreams and having these great conversations. And another dream I had was that of my childhood doctor. So, medicine has changed a lot since I was a young mom. I think when I was a young mom, that's when it started to change. But before that, you could go to independent doctors, and some you liked, some, yeah, he's a good doctor, but, he's okay, but my family doctor that I grew up with is very special. A lot of my family members went there, and a lot of people I knew in the Beering area went to her too, and they all said the same thing. She felt like family. Just a wonderful, wonderful person. She volunteered a lot, and she did so much good. And I know she loved to deliver babies until it just became, so expensive because of the insurance she had to take out to protect herself, that she could no longer afford to do that. But anyways, so this is Dr. Rena Hamburger, and just lovely woman. And I just had gotten back from I had sprayed paint, aerosol paint in my eyes. I went to spray something, and behold, the spray was facing my face instead of the object I was trying to paint. And so I went to urgent care to have my eyes flushed out and checked to make sure everything was okay, which it was. But they were really great at urgent care. I mean, I'm not complaining, but you have to wait a long time, and you never know who you're going to see, and you can't. And I tried to call the regular doctor I had normally been going to. I couldn't get in. Couldn't get in for like a month. And, you know, medical has changed. If it was back in the day I was seeing Dr. Hamburger, she would have made time that day to see me. It's just completely different. And I was just really kind of mourning that experience that I had, how it's lost, how, how the medical professionals no longer feel like their family very often. And I feel bad, and that I didn't appreciate what I had because I didn't know anything else. I didn't know how wonderful she was because she was all I knew since being the smallest of child. I had gone to her, and I even brought my firstborn there. And so I went to bed after that day. It was a very tiring day, of course, because I had sprayed paint in my eyes, and that will make someone tired. And I went to sleep, and all of a sudden, I was in a car with my doctor, Dr. Rena, and we were driving through this forest, like a rainforest, because I remember there are a lot of ferns in there, a lot of greenery. The trees were really huge and like old growth trees. And we were talking and kind of catching up. And I asked her, "Oh, how is Mr. Dr. Hamburger?" Because they were both doctors. And um, she said, "Oh, we're not together right now." And then that's really all I can remember. But it was just a lovely dream. I really I felt like we were really together. I knew we were together in that dream. And I just thought that was really funny that she said that they weren't together. I thought, well, did they get divorced before? At the time, I thought this was before my dream of Jim. So at the time, I thought you could only have visitation dreams with people that were dead. So I thought, surely she must be dead because she would have been in her 90s. And so I looked her up, and she's so active in her community that at the time she was still alive and still very active in her community, even though she was living in a retirement center. And so sad is she had lost all of her family pretty much. She lost her husband. She was a widow, and she had lost both of her children. And I think she may have had like one or two grandchildren left. But her family was really tiny. She really hardly had anyone. But I know she was so loved throughout the community that I'm sure she had people that she felt like were family around her still. So, anyways, I thought that was really interesting. That's when I learned you can have dreams, shared dreams. I guess that's what you would call them. Anyway, I was hoping last night when I went to bed and woke up, I would have this wonderful dream to share with you, but I didn't. I dreamed that I was getting really thin on top of my head. And I looked it up in a dream journal, and apparently that means I'm very stressed out, which means makes a lot of sense because, like I said, I have had, uh, it's been over a year now of a lot of health issues, and I have not worked in over a year. So it is stressful. It's stressful not to be bringing in any money, and it is stressful to think about entering the workforce again. And I'm approaching that. It seems like every time I think I'm going to approach that, something else crops up, like sciatic pain right now. So before I leave, I want to share a poem with you because I think it's very fitting, since this will probably be the last video of this group that will contain mediumship dreams, or visitation dreams, as I've been calling them. And the story behind the dream is, for a good week or two, quite a few years ago, I kept hearing this story about a group of teenagers that got into this horrible accident. They were racing, and in order to miss an innocent car that was just happened to be on the path, they slammed into a tree. And at least two out of the three people passed, and the one that didn't pass had probably life-changing injuries. And I just remember thinking how sad it was, but I didn't let it really penetrate me, because when you watch the news, you've got to, put on some protection. So the negativity of the news doesn't really affect you so deeply. Otherwise, it's a little much. And so I listened to this news report about these children for probably a good week or two, and I was really surprised they gave these children so much news time, because we're so close to Tacoma and Seattle that surely there's a lot going on. Those are pretty big cities, but they really focused on this group of kids. And then I would say, about the second week, I found out whose daughter it was. It was a good friend of mine. It was a friend I went to high school with. I have very fond memories of Dwight. And we were pretty good friends. And I really respected his family. I remember when I heard it, my heart sank for him. I felt so sorry that he was going through this because as a parent, that's our worst fear is that we will lose our children before we pass. It's the worst thing that can happen to a parent. And it happened to him, such a lovely, kind person. And so I was pretty torn up about it. That just penetrated me. I wasn't prepared to hear that news, and I tell you, I guess the empath in me came out in droves, and I was pretty crushed. And then one morning, I woke up with this poem clear in my head, and I truly believe it was written by this girl for her family, and especially for her father, because I think he was the most torn up and having the hardest time getting back into the swing of things. It took him years. And so I'm going to share that with you. And I did have confirmation that it was her. So when I was going to the spiritualist church at the time, I got a message that there was a girl with cafe colored hands, skin, that came to give me a message. And the message was thank you. And I think what it was is she was grateful that I heard her message, wrote down her message, and shared her message with her family. So it's beautiful. So I'm going to share it with you now because there's a lot of truth in it. And I think what she writes is what a lot of the people, our loved ones, think and feel on the other side of the veil. So I'm going to read it now. And it is titled, Love is Eternal. No, I'm never far away. All you have to do is think of me, and I am by your side. I will continue to share in your joys, comfort you in your sorrows, celebrate your victories, and guide you when you feel lost. For I will be with you often as you journey on your path, the path we call life, because my love for you will never die, nor yours for me. So, with that, I thank you for being with me today, and I hopefully will see you soon. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.